Hello and welcome, my beginning leaves. Today we will react to David Vink RPG's video on Dragon Quest III Remake, Tips for Beginners. As my copy is finally underway, got it imported from Japan, so it sadly takes a while longer. This is a topic that might be interesting for me as well, so let's see. Maybe some of these things I already know because I'm somewhat of a Dragon Quest fan.
Hi there, this is David, and
Hi.
today I want to talk about Dragon Quest III-HD2D Remake, and specifically
Good thing to
the
talk
hints
about.
and the tips, beginner's hints and tips. What do I do? Where do I go? What do these personalities do?
So first off, that background is... Yes, please. I do love those slimes, that they look cool. I really would want one of them. Or both of them, actually. Give me both. I'll just take everything back there, honestly. Some of these things I don't even realize what they are. Like that grassy thing over there on the right. And that base cap there. Not sure what these are, but... Oh well, let's move on. This is not about his background.
What do the stats do? What about these job classes? I'm going to be answering all of those questions for you here today, and I do think that that's worth a sub as I try my hardest to hit 100,000 subscribers. And I know that
As you should do as well. Look at this. I'll also leave a like right now. Do that on my channel, please, as well. I would appreciate that a lot.
with your help, your like, and your sub, I can get there. Personally, I have been loving the game on my Nintendo Switch. That is where I have been playing it. I've been having a blast.
Got the Switch version as well.
I do want to get with y'all and talk about what are some best practices with this game. But first, before we do that, let's have a word from today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by Goblin Slayer, Another Adventure, Nightmare Feast, releasing both physically and digitally for the Nintendo Switch on November the 15th.
I'm not interested
This here is
in
based
Goblin
on
Slayer at
the
all.
hugely popular anime series of the same name, and it was created and designed by the same people who created that anime. Though, worry not, you don't need to have watched the show to understand the story here. This is definitely a throwback to simpler times, namely those strategy RPGs that came out back on the PlayStation 1 like Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre. Taking place in the four-cornered world, you play as the Guildmaster, who found out about an ancient artifact said to resurrect the dead,
I'm not gonna
and
say
along the way,
anything
of
about
course, a
somebody's
colorful
sponsor.
cast of characters,
That's
both
just
original
not...
and from the anime, join up with you to find it. But can you keep the artifact safe from the minions of the Demon Lord? Find out here in this visual novel meets strategy RPG. And if you would like to wishlist this or purchase it for yourself, please do just click the links below in the video description. And
Oh, it's not a mobile game, okay.
First up, search everywhere.
Yes!
Well, this
yes.
tip might sound like
Yeah, this sounds like a no-brainer, but, like, definitely, in Dragon Quest specifically, search everywhere. I think he will get, like, cupboards, barrels, search everything. He will probably get into that.
a no-brainer to some RPG veterans out there. I do know that many newcomers will be playing this game. Not to mention gamers who's never played an older game back on the NES or SNES, or even those who've never played a Dragon Quest game before, so this definitely does need some mentioning. Items don't just like magically appear here. There are no little sparklies to search out for, and back in the day, designers weren't exactly nice about where they hid things, if you catch my drift. I mean,
Yeah.
those developers really did want you to search every single nook and cranny.
And I have to say, that's the thing I miss so much in RPGs nowadays. Not gonna say that RPGs nowadays are bad or anything. There are, like, really great ones. Look at Xenoblade, for example. But somehow, a lot of things just lost something. Final Fantasy specifically, honestly, lost a lot of its identity, and it's just... I enjoyed 15 and 16, yes, sure, but they just didn't feel like Final Fantasy at all. They were good RPGs, but not really Final Fantasies. And Dragon Quest is one of the few series that still retains this charm. And I miss that so much in other RPGs. It's... yeah.
So you need to do the same thing here. The safe bets are searching every single jar, barrel, bookshelf, hanging bag, and barrel that you come across. The vast majority of them will have an item for you. But also, if you do see anything out of the ordinary, be sure to check it out too. Search it like you could search a fountain or a well or a bed of flowers. And if you really do want to get everything, then be sure to have a thief and use their nose for treasure ability, which will tell you how many treasures are left in an area as well.
Oh, I will use a thief. Though I do want to use the monster wrangler, and I'm not sure. Usually I go with mage, priest, and thief. The thing is, if I want to use the monster wrangler, as it is a new class, and I kind of want to try it out, what should I leave out? The mage or the priest? They will turn into a sage at one point, so I get the best of both worlds, but I'm still on the fence about that. But then again, maybe I'll just switch up my team here and there, and we'll see what that gives me. Who knows?
Number 2. Let's talk seeds and stats. When you're over at Patty's party planning place, you will be given 5 seeds to distribute as you see fit amongst your prospective party members. So I think that this would be a good time to talk about the stats and what they do, so that you'll be able to make an informed decision as far as which job classes should receive
That's actually a good thing
stats.
to talk about.
Strength obviously affects the physical damage that you deal, while agility not only affects turn order, but also your defense, as half of your agility stat is added into your defense stat.
What? I did not even know that. I mean, it kind of makes sense, because it basically is a difference if I block an attack like this, or like this. If I go faster, I block more of the damage, obviously.
Your HP growth is affected by Vitality, and your MP growth is affected by Wisdom. In addition, you can only learn certain spells after you've crossed a level and Wisdom threshold, so you will definitely want those seeds for your spellcasters. And then there's Luck, which is kind of useless, as it really only affects how often you'll be afflicted with a status ailment. Number 3. The Cult of Personality.
Does luck not also affect drop rates and the thief being able to steal something? I would have thought, I mean, could be, but I would have thought that would be the case, huh?
Once you allocate your seeds appropriately according to your job classes, you'll then be assigned a personality. And not all personalities are created equal, and you can't ignore them either, as they do affect your stat growths. For example, if you get something like a tough personality, you'll get higher stat growths in strength and defense. But if you get a smart personality, you'll get higher wisdom growths. And there are 45 different personalities that are pretty much like randomly distributed amongst your party members. Keep in mind though, only the hero can choose their personality through the question and answer session with Rubus at the beginning of the game. So if you really do want to go for the best personalities out there, then I would suggest the vamp or tough personalities, as they do provide very nice stat growths. But if you don't want to be bothered with like randomly resetting all the time over at Patty's place, then do be aware that it is very easy to change your personality.
Yeah.
Searching bookshelves will provide...
So the way I will tackle this in the beginning specifically is basically I take whatever the quiz gives me, except if it's very heavily built on being a mage, because I go mostly physical with my hero, so yeah, having high wisdom doesn't really do anything good for me, I guess. And when it comes to my other characters, I'll change them according to basically the books, what I need there. Yeah, there are lists out there, so look those lists up. Also, talking about lists, I listed, if you want to, put a link to this guy's channel down in the description below, so check his videos out as well, of course.
Provide you books which will permanently change one character's personality. And then there are tons of accessories out there which can change your personality if you equip them in the main accessory slot. So I wouldn't stress too much over the personalities at the beginning of the game, because once you hit the class change in level 20, you will be able to change them pretty much as you see fit. Number 4. The Wide World of Weapons. There's kind of a theme going on here. Just as all stats and all personalities are not created equal, neither are the weapons. And while most weapons do attack one single monster, there are particular groups of weapons that do work differently.
Yeah, talking about boomerangs and chain sickles. Yeah. Kupo. Ken, Kupo, and Kringle. Those are some interesting names. All starting with K, coincidentally. Huh.
After you find 2 mini medals,
What I kind of like to do is, I like to call my main character Roto, from Japanese word for Erdrick. Which, funny thing, apparently you cannot name your character Erdrick, which is interesting, but you can name them Roto. And then the other characters, something with O, T, and O, to like the first letters spell out Roto as well. I don't know, I kind of like that. Though, if I do change my characters around more, maybe kind of need to drop this? I'll see about that.
you'll get a spiny whip from the mini medal collector at the bottom of the well in Eliahan. And these can be equipped by many different classes, and they're incredibly versatile, hitting entire groups of enemies at once. The boomerangs work similarly, except that you can hit all the enemies on the screen with them. But do be aware that neither of these weapons can inflict critical hits, and their damage does decrease as they go across the screen. They'll deal full damage to the enemy on the left, and then it will subsequently go down with each further enemy. Some weapons also have special attributes, such as the Poison Needle, which is a 1 in 8 chance of instantly killing an enemy, and many stabs can also be used as an item in battle to cast some spells, kinda like the Wizard's Wand being able to cast a fireball spell. So do be sure to play around with the various weapons that you find, and also remember, if you have a merchant in your party, you can use their appraisal skill to find out even more secrets and uses of the different equipment that you do discover. In number 5, this is a whole new adventure. I'm just going to put this out there, folks. I've played this game a million times using tons of different job combinations, making different little challenges, and on tons of different systems and different variations of the game. I am about as close as you can come to being an expert on Dragon Quest III. I know these original games like the back of my hand, and normally I just kind of go through them all on autopilot. But with that being said, this here still felt like a brand new experience to me. So even if you've played the original game multiple times like me,
can I know
you
ways?
might want to treat this as a brand new experience too. Because previous dungeons that just led to dead ends now lead to treasures. There are new items all over the place. The shops sell all sorts of different stuff. There are hidden secrets all over the world map. There's monsters hiding out between every single corner, and even the spell lists have been completely reshuffled with new spells, and not to mention the brand new abilities for all the physical job classes.
Yes, so basically what they did is, I don't want to say anything bad about Dragon Quest III, but they aged it up. They modernized it in all the good ways, is what I'm hearing here. Things that back in the day were okay, because that's just how games were, don't float nowadays anymore, because just quality of life improvements alone are a necessary thing. Look at Pokemon, for example. The box system in Red and Blue is awful. But back in the day, it was what it was, and it was all we had, so we didn't perceive it as awful. With the box system nowadays, you can argue that entering boxes from everywhere might be bad or good, but that's not what I mean. But how you move Pokemon around and stuff. If you compare that, yeah, okay, Red and Blue is no, that's not good. And technically it could have been better even back then, but, games evolve. And this is the ultimate evolution of Dragon Quest III. That is what I'm hearing here. And I hate that I still have to wait for the game.
Battling is just completely different. The NPC dialogue has been totally retooled, and all sorts of new areas, bosses, and flashbacks have been implemented as well. So you really just never know what you're going to stumble across next. This here is a whole new ball game, folks. So that's it for 5 hints and tips that I wish that I knew before I began Dragon Quest III HD2D Remastered. So now I want to ask you, what are some more hints and tips that you would like to share with everybody else? Let's all use this comment section as kind of like a strategy guide to share with one another all sorts of insights and strategies that we can.
Yeah, so, okay. This was a good video. These were some solid tips, though. Gotta admit, as someone who loves Dragon Quest and played all of them, 3 and 10 basically being the only ones I never finished. I don't know. 10 is an online game, Japanese only. That makes sense. Why did I never finish 3, though, which is one of the most beloved of the titles? I have no idea, honestly. I started it like the Super Nintendo version. I have the Switch version, that mobile thingy, which is fine. It doesn't look the best, but it's okay. And I started all of these, and kinda, for some reason, something else came along that just made me not continue. And it's so weird because what I have played of Dragon Quest III, all those times I started the game new, I loved it. It's like, not gonna lie, Dragon Quest III might be it will definitely be in my top 5 Dragon Quest games. I know that. Yet I still didn't get around to finish it. Okay, I was definitely set on finishing that mobile version on the Switch. I would not play on the phone. Like, I don't get people playing on mobile, but that's a whole different thing. Thing about that is, though, they announced this version then, and when I saw the announcement of the remake, this just had to be my first time beating the whole game. It just had to be. There was no way around that. This needs to be the version I experienced the whole of Dragon Quest III in. But before going on another tangent here, let's finish off. And again, like, subscribe, over here, over there. And we'll see each other next time. And until then, bye.